OneDesk allows you to configure your default settings. For example, you can configure your item default conversation visibility. So it's currently set on customer replies. So what this means is when we go to create a ticket, or when we already have an existing ticket and we would like to create a new conversation thread, you can do that by clicking on the three dots and click on view details. If we were to go to create new conversation on this item, you'll see that the default is on customer replies. Had we changed it to internal messages, then the default would now be to change every time a new conversation thread is created to internal messages unless you change it manually. Similarly, in the project default conversation visibility, it's currently set on customer replies. You can change it to internal messages, but essentially when we go to the projects panel on the left hand side and open up a project, the conversation that you can create will be placed on customer replies by default, or vice versa if you decide to have it on internal messages so that your internal users can be the ones to discuss this specific project. Currently, when we create a timesheet, by default it places it as a non-billable for the billing type. And you'll notice when we create a timesheet right here by clicking on this button and then we click timesheet, the billing type by default is non-billable. So if we change this to billable, by default every time we fill out a timesheet, it'll change it to it'll place it as a billable timesheet. And now the timesheet default status is currently placed on not approved yet. So what that means is when we go here into the timesheet application, you'll notice that every timesheet here currently says not approved, and to approve it you'll need to click on the actions here and change it to the approved status. But if you'd like all your timesheets to just simply be approved automatically, you can change the default status to approved, or alternatively, if you want to approve several of them at once, you can actually select them and you can just decide to run a macro by clicking on the three dots here, click on view details, and then switch them to approved. And then you'll notice on the right hand side that they all switch to approved. And lastly, this default setting invite all users on project creation. By default, when we create a project, it just says that all users will be added. So if we uncheck this box right here, it'll make sure that not all users will be added, and you'll have to add the users that you want to that project manually.